In the headlines, anti-mosquito measures to beef up following complaints of lack of visibility of environmental health officers, a delayed start to the Westbridge project, and the NGO coalition could intervene in light of recent toddler's death. I am Andrea Lee with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. Thank you for staying with us. First up, environmental health officers will be expected to operate more efficiently following a concern raised by the Prime Minister and the Minister for National Security. Idona Jean-Baptiste explains.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson said the issue came up during a meeting with Prime Minister Skerrit 3 weeks ago. Johnson was responding to a question by Minister Blackmore at a recent National Emergency Planning Organization forum.
In fact, we had a meeting with the Honorable Prime Minister, I don't think you were there recently, in which he raised concerns in terms of the role of the vector control persons and they being more visual. Okay? And since then, we have come up with a plan of action to ensure that the vector control person that we have, or environmental health persons, are actually going into the homes, inspecting persons' home. The environmental health personnel should not abdicate their responsibility in going out of the field and operating only from an office, but be on the field with the boots together with the vector control person. So, Honourable Minister, your point is well taken. We recognize that certain things were not going too well, and environmental officers are not persons to operate in an office, but have to be on the field.
Minister Blackmore had questioned the approach by the environmental health officers in controlling the spread of mosquitoes.
I know, as a little boy growing up in my home, may his soul rest in peace. Everybody knew John Fabian. The health inspectors in those days had the boots at the back of the vehicles, and they came into the communities, and they interacted. They were seen. But the issue of fogging, as rightly said, most of the guys fog the main road. Let's be real. So that's not really effective. Because most citizens not really standing on the road. Most of us don't know our health inspectors for the area. Is that true? And we have to try to bring back those days in terms of work ethics.
Dominica will form stronger communication links with regional meteorological agencies to help it to better respond to tropical weather systems ahead of the Atlantic hurricane season. This was announced during a meeting of the National Emergency Planning Organization on Friday.
Because you have organizations coming to you and say, oh, we saw that rainfall was coming, but what communication links do we have? So you can probably call us in Dominica and tell us that we saw that on our models, and you need to look at that. We are trying to establish communication links with other Met services like Meteor France, like the forecasters in Matnik, but we have a language barrier to combat. So we can have better discussion when we have the system approaching, so we can have more discussion to be able to make a better decision.
More specialized training in forecasting of storms and hurricanes and developing an early warning system are among measures also required to improve the way the country deals with disasters.
And we need more specialized training and the setting up of an early warning system. More specialized training would mean like somebody being trained specifically in, like say, hurricane forecasting. We need more research to be done in Dominica, and improvement in numerical weather prediction models. That would be models with better resolution. That means the coverage would be would focus more on Dominica, because most of the models we use are regional models and global models.
In more news, the start of the new Westbridge project has been delayed and no word yet on when the project will begin. More on that story from Idona Jean-Baptiste.
The police traffic department had actually planned new traffic arrangements which would have taken effect on Monday to facilitate demolition of the old West Bridge. That is the first aspect of the new West Bridge project being undertaken by NSG Management and Technical Services Limited of Barbados. However, on Friday, Channel 5 News was informed by the police that these arrangements would have been put on hold. The project is expected to begin this month. On the other hand, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit told a recent rally of the Labour Party that he has been made aware of plans to stall the project by what he calls known operatives of the United Workers' Party.
I am told they're planning street protests. I am told they're seeking injunctions to stop the project. I am told they plan to march. They are seeking to have the operatives in the various organizations initiate all of this with the sole purpose of frustrating and retarding the progress of Dominica.
UWP leader Lennox Linton could not be reached for comment. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
Ahead of the official start of the 2016 hurricane season, the Ministry of Health is already benefiting from a donation which will help to ensure clean water for the Dominica population. This as the Ministries of Health and Education as well as the local government department were on the receiving end of a donation of water purification sachets and emergency preparedness supplies from Child Fund Caribbean.
More than 67% as well, even of our Child Fund staff in our national offices were affected by Tropical Storm Erica because most of us live in the southern part of the island. And so although we were also affected, we had to be helping and assisting persons in the communities. So we had to learn a lot of different things on the spur of the moment.
The Ministry of Health is responsible for distributing the water sachets among the 7 health districts on island. 24 first aid kits, 101 solar-powered lanterns, 45 solar chargers, 250 water bottles and 40 emergency radios formed part of the donation. Minister for Health says these items will be extremely useful in times of disaster.
The ham radios, the portable radios that you mentioned, I mean, one of the things that I lamented to the police was while on the ground in PD7, not even the police themselves had any handheld equipment among themselves. And I mean, I remember being the doctor on ground where they would be calling me to identify bodies, pronounce them dead, etc. And you don't kind of give the order to have them buried on the spot. And the police officers would have to be running up and down all over PD7, and all of us know what PD7, and whereas if a little portable handheld, they could just communicate among themselves.
In the aftermath of Tropical Storm Erica, Child Fund Caribbean expended in excess of $390,000 in providing emergency relief, psychosocial first aid and building resilience through improving preparedness for future response.
The sachets that we're handing over from Procter & Gamble is actually something we have been doing in a number of places around the region. We have been doing this in Brazil, we have been doing this in we're planning to do this in Mexico, and at the recent earthquake in Ecuador. We also had a very similar arrangement with the Ministry of Health of Ecuador. We also were glad to be able to serve as an intermediary to get those sachets, which are so simple technology, but so effective to provide potable water during an emergency situation, which is one of the basic needs.
The non-governmental organization Coalition for the Protection of Children is interested in facilitating psychological support to the family in wake of the recent death of a toddler in Grand Bay. On Sunday morning, the community of Grand Bay was rocked by news that 2-year-old Gabriel Bruno died at a house in Geneva, Grand Bay.
The mother of the infant, who resides at Geneva in Grand Bay and who, it is alleged, has a history of mental illness, reported the death at the Grand Bay police station that morning. A coroner's inquest will be convened. The deceased infant's mother has since been admitted to the psychiatric unit. Investigations are ongoing. The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force extends deepest condolences to the family and friends of the late infant, Gabriel Bruno.
7 days after the shooting death of a young man of Kings Lane, the police are reporting that a Grand Bay man is in their custody in connection to the crime. The police PRO said the Grand Bay man was arrested on suspicion of murder for the shooting death of McGavin Peters of Kings Lane. The police are also looking for more information on the crime which took place about 1 a.m. last Tuesday at a place of entertainment in Grand Bay. Anyone with information can contact CID or Crime Stoppers hotline at 1-800-8477. Coming up, the latest on a motor vehicle accident that took place in Canefield over the weekend. Welcome back. The country's chief medical officer has warned that police intervention may become necessary in order to strengthen efforts at controlling the spread of mosquitoes.
According to local studies of the Ministry of Health, storage drums are a main breeding site for mosquitoes. CMO Dr. David Johnson is reminding the public that there is a mosquito control regulation that allows environmental officers to destroy breeding sites.
Whether persons have pipe-borne water, people still store a lot of water in drums. We do not want to take aggressive steps or confrontational steps as puncturing those drums, but it reaches a point where we might very well have to do that. Okay. Sometimes you cannot enter the homes of persons where, if they have a lot of dogs and the gates are locked, etc., or go to the homes and turn over their vases. And therefore, sometimes you might even need the assistance of the police when we need to go onto those homes to destroy those drums.
The Environmental Health Department will take on another strategy geared at curbing mosquito breeding with the introduction of a prototype water storage drum.
The Environmental Health Department in particular have developed or is in the process of developing, and you'll be hearing a lot more about it, a prototype drum with the assistance of the Pan American organization, how persons can actually retrofit the drum, to use this word, cover it and has a pipe on it, okay? And therefore we'll be doing some demonstration to the public in terms of how that drum can be made and how you could install those drums at your home.
In more political news now, residents of the Soufriere constituency can look forward to road developments to start this week, amounting to over $1 million. The Dominica Labour Party by-election candidate for the Soufriere constituency, Denise Charles, made the announcement at a Scots Head rally in her honor on Sunday.
I know that we have some roads to do in Scots Head, Soufriere, Gallia, and Point Michel. I want to tell you over $500,000 is already in both councils and work shall commence this week. Through my walkthroughs, I've noticed that we still have more to do in housing. You shall receive the assistance that you need.
Charles is also a member of the Point Michel Village Council. She has urged fisherfolk and farmers in the Soufriere constituency to position themselves to reap the benefits of major tourism developments for that constituency. She also wants to see the establishment of a fishing cooperative for the constituency.
I will work with you to ensure we are prepared to embrace the spillovers from having 3 major resorts, Wakotlet, Jungle Bay, and Petit Colibri, and other developments in the pipeline. I have to ensure that our people are the ones employed at these resorts. Farmers and fisher folks, I have to ensure that you are ready to increase the demand, you are ready to supply the increase in demand for fish, food and fish.
The DLP candidate also planned to take stock of the skilled and talented workers in the area.
So I want to ensure that I know the talents of everyone in our constituency. As your representative, I want to know all fisher folks, farmers, construction workers, electricians, plumbers, unskilled workers, business owners, tailors, seamstresses. I want to know all aspiring athletes and musicians. I intend to create a database so we know all these skill sets in our constituency.
UWP candidate for the Soufriere constituency by-election says although people had doubts about him, he believes there will be a change in the political landscape in that constituency. Higgs Adams, who was addressing a UWP rally in Point Michel on Saturday, said though he was unsuccessful at the 2014 general elections, he feels confident this time around.
I feel we need a change in that constituency. Many of you had your doubts about me in that constituency. Like everything else, whenever you put yourself in any organization, some people have their fears. Some people will say, well, you think Mr. Real or whatever. But you know what happened? You assess me carefully in that constituency. You take your time and you assess me. But you know what happened? When I speak to you in that constituency,
for some other reason, you figure out you did not give me the mandate that I asked you.
Notwithstanding that UWP has not won an election in that constituency, Adams said he will win the June 7th by-election because constituents no longer want to be fooled by the incumbent DLP administration. Adams lost to DLP's Ian Pinard by some 500 votes in the 2014 general elections. He says helping the youth become more productive in the constituency is high on his agenda.
All the young people that's on the roadside. We have an empty school in Scottshead. I pledge on my election, once we win the election, I'm going to turn this building into a development center where we can get young people to train. I am ready to train. I have done it before. I have done it many years. And today I am proud of my achievements. I can point fingers of how many employments I have done in my constituency. That's how you do things.
In more police news, police are reporting yet another broad daylight robbery by masked men in the city of Roseau. This most recent incident of theft took place around 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, 21st May at Jewelers International, located on the waterfront of the Fort Young Hotel. Here is Police PRO Acting Inspector Pelham John Baptist with more details.
Initial police investigations reveal that 3 individuals wearing masks and armed with a firearm stole a quantity of Rolex wristwatches. 1 motor vehicle, which is suspected to have been used in the robbery, was recovered at Fort Ney. Investigations are ongoing.
And this weekend did not turn out so well for a motorcycle rider after a Saturday afternoon collision left him with a fractured foot.
Mackenzie Roberts of Calibishi, who lives at Canefield, continues to be treated at the Princess Margaret Hospital for his injuries. He was riding his bike near the Old Mill Cultural Center when he collided with a CRV being driven by Dr. Robertson Thomas of Checkall. Roberts received injuries to his left leg and other parts of his body.
That's news. We now join Kenny Williams for your sports highlights.
In sports highlights, New India Assurance Celtic recaptured the 2016 Big Edge Financial Express Netball League when they edged out Spartans in a highly competitive match on Sunday. In the first quarter of the Premier League final, Celtic was up 6-4. By quarter number 2, the tides changed as Spartans took the lead 16-13. By the time the whistle blew to end the third quarter, the Spartan team could almost taste victory when the scores were 26-25. In the final quarter, however, Celtic put some distance between them and Spartans, with final game scores 38-33. Marcia Gustav racked up 24 from 32 attempts to help put Spartans in the lead, while Jennifer Nanton added 11 from 22. In a losing effort, Chanel St. Rose of Spartans shot and scored 24 from 38 attempts, but that was in vain as the contenders failed to secure the win. Meantime, in the other game, Portsmouth Breakers stole the Division 1 championship from defending champions New India Assurance Celtic with a 7-point lead. Breakers ended the game on 30 points, with Lorna Honoré scoring 22 from 41 and Aaliyah Prince adding 8. Julia Johnson and Ayana Detush scored the most for Celtic, recording 17 and 5 respectively. Meantime, Marcia Gustav was awarded the most valuable player in the Premier League, while Kayla Winston got the same for the Division 1 league. Both netballers play for New India Assurance Celtic. On the court for basketball, 12 under-16 basketball players will get a chance to represent Dominica on the regional scene for the first time soon. Manager of the team, Martin Dyer, says the prospects look promising.
We had a field of 45 players and we had to cut it down. We cut it down to 28. The final amount will be 12. The trials went well, I must say. We have very loaded with potential. A lot of talented young guys out there. It's just to harness the talent and get them recognized.
Dyer says although it will be the players' first time playing on that level, he is optimistic about their performance.
I'm expecting a lot from them, but it's the first time they're playing at that level. So there's a lot that can go against them. But then it's a very time that I saw. I'm hopeful that we will do very well in the tournament.
The Caribbean Basketball Confederation 16 and Under Boys tournament is scheduled to run from June 2 to 9 in Guyana. In football, local clubs benefited from a public club licensing consultation at the Football House on Saturday. Club representatives came out in their numbers where they learned more about club licensing from CONCACAF's club licensing manager, Jonathan Martinez. After clubs submit their relevant documents, only licensed clubs will be able to participate in the leagues of the Dominica Football Association. Moving on to track and field, where Dominican athlete Therese Hamilton says her experience competing outside of Dominica has helped her in her pursuit of becoming a better athlete. Her comments follow a recent trip to Martinique where she recorded good performances.
The other girls, they were much bigger than me and they were more tough. But I managed to come out second because of all the training I did with Sir Hamilton. Dominica, it was very easy to beat them because I had enough training from Dominica, so I could put it to what I learned in the stadium. But the girls from overseas, they were much bigger and they were tough, and they really you could see that they put everything into what they do. But it didn't intimidate me because I have plenty experience in shot put and javelin.
The 12-year-old captured 2 silver medals, including a bronze in the 100 meters relay. She says the next step is to qualify for the Olympics one day.
If I keep on practicing, and if I keep on practicing every single day, I can keep on getting more strength and more core energy to use that and maybe become on one of the top 10 lists for me to be able to represent Dominica at the Olympics.
Finally, in sports, Manchester United manager Louis van Gaal has been sacked from his position and is expected to be replaced with former Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho. Van Gaal leaves Man U after serving 2 years of a 3-year contract and is currently discussing severance terms. On Saturday, Manchester United won their first FA Cup in 15 years under Van Gaal's watch, but placed 5th in the Premier League, which means no Champions League football for the team. Meantime, Mourinho's appointment is expected to be confirmed after the 53-year-old meets with senior United officials on Tuesday. Van Gaal has chosen to remain tight-lipped on the reason for his being sacked. That's all the time for sports. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
Your weather report is next.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rock Correa. Today, a high pressure system was a dominant feature, which resulted in fairly partly cloudy skies across the region. Also, some hazy and breezy conditions were recorded. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds across Dominica, and earlier radar imagery of this afternoon indicated some shower activity on the west coast of Dominica. The weather tonight is expected to be fairly partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with brief showers, and similar conditions can be expected for tomorrow with maximum temperatures of up to 32 degrees Celsius. The marine conditions tomorrow will be moderate and waves are expected to be up to 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea bathers, please do exercise caution. Let's take a look at the weather for the next 3 days. Well, as I said, tomorrow, Tuesday, fairly partly cloudy, hazy and breezy with a few brief showers. On Wednesday, fairly partly cloudy skies can be expected with some brief showers as well. And on Thursday, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with a few scattered showers. The weather for the rest of the Caribbean tomorrow, partly cloudy skies with some brief showers can be expected for the Lesser Antilles. On the international scene, thunderstorm activity expected for New York and Miami, beautiful clear skies for London and Beijing, and some partly cloudy skies with relatively warm temperatures expected for Caracas. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:34 a.m. and will set at 6:30 p.m. Feel free to visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Anti-mosquito measures to beef up following complaints of lack of visibility by environmental health officers. A delayed start to the Westbridge project, and NGO coalition could intervene in light of recent toddler's death. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNewsmay23rd2k16. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Andrea Lee, and to all our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Join us tomorrow.